Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Scenes with Cookeville Lifestyle. Today I am joined by Mr. Corby King himself, the director of schools. We feel so honored to have you. And his right-hand woman, Malaysia Talbert.
Yes. The person who keeps our office moving.
Yes.
I try my hardest.
Yes.
The beautiful person. And she's like, you know, the Vanna White of the Putnam County Schools. And my friend, our kids were in class together in kindergarten this last year. So we got to know each other. Little besties. But I wanted to have you guys on because a new school year is approaching and parents have so many questions. I know as somebody who is not from this area, whose child started kindergarten last year, I knew nothing going in and I felt like so overwhelmed. And you feel like you've got to go to all these mixers and so like all the different things. Do I need to be on the PTO? Is my kid going to get in trouble if I'm not on the, you know, it's just all the questions. So we have to have you on so the people that don't know these things can get some answers. So first of all, school starts back. We got a half day on July 31st, right?
2 hours.
2 hours. So they just show up, meet the teacher.
That's it. Go in, get schedules. Some of the elementary schools, you might not get to meet the teacher because they haven't done their class assignments yet. It might be a couple of days. They're registering new students. Historically, it's been a registration day. So people who have moved, who have come into town, who haven't done the pre-registration stuff that we do in the spring, that's the day they come in and register. So for returning students or those who have been here, you can pick up schedules, middle school, high school. Some middle schools will actually run a little brief schedule where they walk through the day in that 2 hours. It's a little different at every school. The big thing is just talk to your school, see what they're going to be doing that day. But some, yes, you can meet the teachers, pay for school supplies or any fees, anything like that, upload your cafeteria accounts. Just a lot of paperwork kind of stuff on that day.
Good to know, because the cafeteria thing was one thing I did not know last year. Yes. And there was like an app that you had to set up, and I couldn't figure it out. And then they said send in money, but then they never took the money out of my kid's backpack. So finally I figured it out. So there's an app that you can put money in for your kids' cafeteria.
That's right. There's an app. You can log into the app. You can check. You know, and it's confusing too because we have several schools that are actually free breakfast and lunch.
Oh, okay.
I think there's going to be 11 this year, which is exciting. We've not announced that breaking news.
Oh, wow.
Last year it was 7.
Breaking news.
Last year was 7 schools. This year we're moving to 11 schools. Don't ask me what those are.
Okay, I was about to, but that's okay. I understand.
That's good. They just told me that at the end of last week, and I didn't get an update on which schools that was.
That's amazing.
But that's really good news for the families in those schools. So it'll be free breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
For the other schools, you can get on the app. You can upload. You can send a check. They will get it. Just remind the teacher. You know, the Parent Square app.
Parent Square.
That's the app you've got to have. Is Parent Square. So make sure that you have your Parent Square app because that's where all the school notifications, whether it comes from your teacher, the school, from me, you know, I send a little Friday afternoon thing, school closings, weather, all of that happens in Parent Square. So make sure your contact information. The other stuff, it's just relax and have fun with it.
Yes, and it's not that serious.
It's really not. It's going to be okay.
It feels a little serious though as a new parent, and like you got to get there by 2:30 to get in the pickup line. People, don't get there late.
See, and I would tell you to wait.
Okay, so you
I don't
hot take?
No, I go early because I do not want to see it wrapped around the building. I get so nervous
because it makes you scared that your kid's going to be like crying, waiting.
But they're not. So if you get there at 2:30, you're going to be in that long line that's wrapped around the building. But if you wait till like 3:10, you'll drive right through.
So you're not going to get in trouble if you get there at 3:10.
3:10, you'll drive right through.
Okay, so the teachers aren't going to like look at you funny?
No, because they're there until 3:15 to 3:20.
Okay.
In the middle school, because we had more students. So middle schools, high schools, 3:30, 3:45, that wasn't uncommon. The car line, especially the first couple of weeks of school, it moves slow anyway.
Yeah.
It just takes time for everybody to get their routine. What time do I need to leave to get to this school?
It does.
Especially if you have multiple pickups. Because we have parents who have students at 2 and 3 schools. So which student's going to get picked up first? And that's something you just have to work out at home.
It does take a while.
It's a big deal because it's going to take time at each one. But that first stop, if you're rolling in, 3:10, you'll roll right through that line, get to your next one by 3:20, 3:30. You'll be okay.
Okay. Good to know.
The elementary schools are a little bit stricter about that, getting there by 3:15.
Okay.
Because the kids are younger.
Yeah.
They're ready to get home. There's just a lot more going on in the afternoons. So I would start, if I had multiple students at the elementary school, pick that child up first, get there early. You'll be at the middle schools by 3:30. Just drive. You'll drive right through the lines.
Okay.
But if you get there at 2:30, you're going to wait. You're going
I'm
because
guilty.
the bell don't ring till 3 o'clock.
Okay. Interesting. I love this. This makes me have a little less mom guilt. So I'll just tell my kid, if I'm one of the last people there, the director of schools told me that was how I should do it. So blame him.
Blame it on you. Blame it on me. But yeah, if you get there at 2:30, you're just going to be hanging out.
Okay.
Now, if you've got friends in the
mean,
car line, you want to get out and walk around, talk to, hey, but.
I know. Sometimes I would get there early and like watch a show on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Check emails.
So we have parents who do that, read a book,
Yeah.
Whatever. But I just don't like sitting in line that long. So
I know, you're right. Especially if you
would
have the
just go-
multiple children,
Right.
like you're saying. Okay.
I would just go and, a few minutes later, drive right through.
Okay, I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so can you also explain? So the closed, is that how you say it? The closed districts or
Zones.
zones?
Yes, the school zones.
School zones. For elementary, they're closed.
Yes.
And then middle school, they're open.
In the early registration period.
Just during early registration.
During early registration.
Okay.
So that's why that's really important in April to fill out those registration forms. We have more
Okay.
flexibility. But at the end of the registration window, it goes to zoning everywhere except high schools.
Wow.
So-
Interesting. I did not know that.
That is, it's a big thing, and we try to put that out through Parent Square, and we put on the newspaper, our website, the PCSSTN.com, the Putnam County Schools website. That's also an important place to look and keep up with news. But yes, we share that information early. So if there's a school you want to change schools or go somewhere out of zone, that early registration period is the most flexible we have.
Okay, so if you live in Putnam County, you can
You have to live in
choose-
Putnam County regardless.
Can you choose all good, or you can't choose all good middle?
No, well, you could in the early registration period.
You could.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
All of our middle schools were open during the in April, at the end of April, 1st of May.
Okay, so you can choose between all good.
Upperman, Prescott, Avery Trace, they were all open during that early period.
Wow, I thought you could only choose between Avery, Trace, and Prescott.
No, you had choices.
Hot take.
Or Monterey if you wanted to go to Berks.
Wow.
If you do that in the early registration. But at the end of that, and we do that because we try to staff and have all of our teachers in place before the school year starts.
Right.
It's not fun once you're a week in and having to hire a new teacher and move people in. So we really try to have a grasp because we're mandated to meet certain student-teacher ratios in the buildings. So we try to staff early, and that's why we do the early registration, so we can plan for the students who are coming in next fall and go ahead and have the staff in place over the summer.
Right, of course.
So elementary schools, we're really just full everywhere.
Yeah,
So those
which
are a
is
lot more
crazy.
restrictive. We did have 3 or 4 that had some open enrollment. We had a lottery at a couple of the elementary schools.
Yeah.
But for the most part in the elementary schools, it is a zoned thing. You have to go whichever school zone you're in.
And how many elementary schools are there?
We have 11.
11.
We have
Wow.
11 elementary schools, 4 middle, and 3 traditional high schools.
Okay,
And then we have a virtual school that's
right.
K-12.
Vital.
Vital.
So, in the next few years, do you think the middle schools will be closed?
It could. It's an interesting question because in Putnam County we all feel the growth, and as we're growing, that tends to be what limits capacity at the schools or the enrollment flexibility. But right now, even though we're seeing the growth in the community, a lot of parents are choosing more non-traditional school options. So in the school system, our growth is pretty flat. I mean, we're not really losing students,
Okay.
but we're also not growing like the community seems to be growing.
Interesting.
So if we maintain this consistent enrollment pattern that we're in right now, we'll have more flexibility.
Okay.
But if one school, and this happens sometimes, and that's how our zoning policy works, if there's a new neighborhood built, say in the Prescott zone or All Good zone, a new neighborhood's built, 50, 60, 70 new students enroll in that school because of this new zoning thing, well, then you're going to get, that's going to limit the number of students who can come from outside the zone.
Right.
So then we would close to priority 4. That's the out-of-zone students. So
Okay.
those who attended previously or a full-time employee, they would still be able to go to the school. Or if you have a sibling in the school, that would be a priority 3. They could go to the school, but it would be limited those who are outside the zone.
Okay, I
So
see.
those kind
That
of
makes
things
sense.
could happen. and it's just kind of hard to predict because there's lots of new zoning developments that have been approved from the various zoning commissions. So as those subdivisions or whatever get off the ground and they start building and students start coming into the zone, then it might limit enrollment in those schools.
And then your job's going to get even more tricky.
It's just we've dealt with that before. We've had that at times. We've had to close Allgood Middle. We've had to close Upperman Middle School. There's been lots of growth in Baxter. So there have been years when we've looked at the numbers and we can't take out of zone kids here. So we just close it down before the early enrollment period, and we communicate all that to families that you have to live in the zone to enroll there.
Okay.
And sometimes just 1 or 2 years of that, and it brings the population back down inside the building, so then we can open that back up.
Okay.
There have been a lot of years. Allgood Elementary and Prescott Elementary for several years were 1 and 2 only, which is the full-time employees of the students who live in the zone. Mm-hmm. Because we've been able to limit the numbers for a few years in those schools, we were able to open it up to siblings. So if you initially lived in Allgood or initially lived in the Prescott zone and had moved out, you could stay. And under the old policy, if you had a younger sibling, you would have to enroll them in another school. But because the enrollment policy worked, we've been able to allow the siblings to attend school in those the last 2 or 3 years.
And it's the same in every other elementary too, right?
It is.
Siblings
Across
can
Putnam
go?
County.
Okay, thank God.
It's just different, yes.
Lord,
we look at
scare
that,
me.
but we look at that every year. So if you enroll in a school outside of your zone, that's something we have to, we take a look at that every year. And if the enrollment's really high in that particular school for a year, it may be that the sibling don't get in.
Oh, Lord.
And it is. It's just a risk you take by enrolling out of the zone.
Yeah, my kid's not in the zone.
Yeah.
We go to Capshaw, and this year we're going to have to circle around to everybody that goes to Capshaw knows after kindergarten, you got to go to the long line for pickup.
Yeah, it's not the little short kindergarten line anymore. It's the big one that goes around the building.
Yes.
It moves quickly. It's for all of the schools.
There is more space in that line rather than the kindergarten line, though. The kindergarten line stresses me out.
And there is no crossing guard in the kindergarten line. That's another thing Capshaw needs to work on. There's no crossing guard.
I'm going to start. So that's not a school thing.
Oh, okay, that's not you.
Not
Don't call Corby.
Don't call our office. Crossing guards. We have nothing to do with crossing guards, and I don't want to throw them under a bus because we're very thankful. But in the city limits, Cookeville City Police Department takes care of the crossing guards for us.
Good to know, people.
In Cookeville City, the crossing guards do a great job.
They do.
But if there's a crossing guard or not a crossing guard, that's not on the school system. That's the municipal police departments. In Baxter, it's Baxter Police. In Monterey, it's the Monterey Police.
Wow, interesting.
So, yeah. The schools, we have nothing to do with traffic.
Okay. Good to know.
They help us establish the car line, the route, what we're doing. We work with the police. We try to get as many cars off the road as we can. And everybody knows, again, that first 2 weeks of school, it's just going to go slow.
Yeah.
It takes time. The new students, new parents to learn the system. It moves, but usually within the first week and a half.
Yeah, and parents
leave
leave early.
Yes.
I live kind of far. Well, it's not far. Nothing is actually that far in this area, people. And if you think it is, you've clearly never lived anywhere else. But I was getting there at like 7:59 or late, and you will get a tardy slip.
You will. That stresses parents. That stresses the students out.
It stresses the students.
Really try to be at school by 7:45. That's big. It's less stressful on the student. It's less stressful on the parent.
Yep.
And the car line does move a lot faster at that time because everybody's trying to get to work. So they move through, jump out. The morning car line really works well.
Yeah.
Move through, drop them off, and head on out. You don't have to wait and get out and help them get out. The students will have their backpack ready, have things ready to go. So when they unbuckle that seatbelt, they're opening a door and they're
and in
out.
Kindergarten, isn't it the first week or two you can walk in with them?
It is, and the schools have a consistent day, and I don't know what that date is.
Okay.
But the first week or two in kindergarten you can, and then they have
Park and walk.
Yeah, they have a cute name for it. I don't know what it is, but it's like an Independence Day. It's the last day the parent can walk in, and then after that, they're the big kids now. They're in kindergarten. They can make it. They know their teacher by then. They know their class. They know where it is, or if they're going to the library or the gym, whatever it may be, depending on the time you drop them off. The students know that. They're great. You drop them off. It's like, bye, Mom. See you.
Okay, yeah.
It's a lot easier on the kids than it is on Mom.
Yeah, totally, for sure. That's true.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's circle back a little for the parents whose kids aren't starting kindergarten. Pre-K.
Yes.
So this year, pre-K is different, right?
Okay,
Aren't they all going to one?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet. Pre-K center is not open yet, so that's the same as it has been.
Okay.
If you're in a pre-K program in one of our elementary schools or at Cookeville High School, that's all the same. Nothing has changed yet with pre-K. We're hoping to be in the new pre-K center not this coming school year, but next year.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
then they will all be in the Early Learning Academy, which is the old Parkview School building
Right.
in the middle of town. So that's all the pre-K will be except for Monterey and Baxter. Monterey and Baxter will stay on the ends.
Okay.
But all of the Cookeville and all good pre-K will move to.
And in order to get into pre-K, when do parents need to apply?
In the spring, and we always put that information out when pre-K applications are open. It's usually also in April or May. And we still have parents coming in and applying now. That
wow.
window is still open as long as you meet the income eligibility requirements. For families who are filling out the forms who don't meet the requirements that are on this kind of wait list, usually September 15th is when the state releases if we have open spots.
Because somebody told me you'll always have a ton of open spots.
Not a ton. There's usually 30 or 40. It's not a huge number, but there are usually a few spots available, and those get filled after the
wait list.
Yes.
Okay, so even if you don't meet the income requirements and you still want your kid to go to public school pre-K, you could still apply.
You can apply.
And you might get in.
Yes, you might get
Okay.
in. That's the wait list, and again, that's after September 15th.
And do you have to be 4, or what's the age cutoff?
It's 4 by, and I think it's the same, mirrors the kindergarten, August 15th.
August 15th, okay.
Yes.
4 by August 15th.
4 by August 15th.
Okay, gotcha. Good to know, people.
All right.
These are all things we need to know.
Yes.
Okay, now moving on to middle and high school.
Yes.
You brought
I did.
the thing everybody
This
is
the big
talking
thing,
about.
The cell phones, the cell phone case. And it's real simple. You know, the students will have the case. We will assign these to them. They'll get them in the first day or two of school from one of their teachers. Every school might handle it a little bit differently, but typically a homeroom or a first period teacher will assign the case. The students will be able to, just like a textbook. We'll give them a way to identify that it's theirs, and it'll be yours, just like a textbook. The student will carry it with them throughout the day. You can carry it home in the evenings. You bring it back to school. If you're going to have a phone, though, you have to have the case, and you have to have it in the case beginning at 7:45, and it stays in the case from 7:45 until 3 o'clock. And at 3 o'clock, the teacher will unlock it, as I just did, and they get their phone out and move on.
So as they're leaving the
2:55.
classroom, the teacher will unlock it for them.
Yes, probably a few minutes before. You know, the afternoon announcements at all of our schools usually start around 2:55, and I anticipate that's when teachers will pass the magnet around the room or allow the kids to come do that. Again, it might be like the car line. It might take 2 or 3 days, but the students will figure this out quickly because it's a real simple process. So once they put their phone in the morning and lock it, it'll be there until 2:50, 2:55.
Okay.
So, you know, parents, you know, if they send a text about something, you know, they're not going to be able to respond through the day. They're not going to be able to get that information, but at 2:55, they'll be able to unlock their case and get their phone. If it's a message they need before then call the school. Just like we did, just like
we
you
were
know
young.
when we were in
Exactly.
school. Call the school, leave a message, and I'm sitting here like I don't know if I'm going. There we go.
It might take Corby a little longer,
No,
but there we
go.
go.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It's just that I'm on camera and I'm sitting here playing with it. But it's real simple.
It
The
is.
students
It's
will
very
figure that
simple.
out. It's very quick. So.
And the reason that this is taking place is because you've seen it work, or Putnam County has seen it work in other
schools. So our school board
systems.
members spent a lot of hours. You know, the first time we talked about this was probably a little over 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the school board members, you know, and we really started noticing the rise in our students, anxiety, depression, lots of social emotional issues, bullying, discipline. And as you investigate and you dig into those, it's most all the time coming back to cell phones. You know, the overwhelming majority of the incidents go back to the cell phones. And students are just so connected, and it's kind of rewiring their brains. The board spent a lot of hours researching this, talking to other school systems who have done what they're doing, and all of them report. Every school system the board talked to reports less discipline, less incidents of the concerning emotional issues within the students, the depression and the anxiety. The students kind of return to themselves a little bit. They're talking to each other.
Yeah.
Right now in the schools, whether it be in the cafeteria, the hallways, students are starting engaged in talking with each other in class. They're on their phones.
So during lunch, they can
It's
have their
still-
phones?
No.
Or they used to be able to?
They used to.
Oh,
Used to.
okay.
So, and again, that's where a lot of the bullying and a lot of those things were happening were in those non-classrooms, because in class they couldn't have them. We had the pouches in class. That wasn't consistently enforced as it should have been. And students were still accessing the phones and texting throughout the day, whether it be with peers, distracted, all the things, Snapchat, TikTok, texting mom, dad, their peers. All of those things were happening during the day. The board's like, we need to give them a break. And they also read the book, The Anxious Generation.
Yes.
And they were so moved by that, we're going to do a community-wide book study. This is going to start in August. The board members are participating
The Restoring
in that. Restoring
Childhood?
Hope, Restoring Childhood, yes.
Putnam County?
One of the teachers, a middle school teacher at Avery Trace Middle School, is leading that, Ryan Dalton. And the school board members have signed up to participate and actually endorse that community-wide book study. And after reading the book, they were like, we see this in our own kids. We see this, they've seen that in their kids or their grandkids. And they said, this is something we need to do. The school systems, it was interesting. The board meeting, they were talking about this. The board was being evaluated by Warren County School Board, which is just down the road from us. They did this last year with the pouches. And they said after the first couple of weeks, they almost immediately saw the student behavior increase. But within the first 2 weeks, that's when the student engagement stuff started coming back.
Okay.
And that was really interesting to hear, and to hear from a student perspective that, hey, I didn't like this at first, but once we did it, I was talking to my classmates, I was talking to my peers, and that was story after story that the board members heard where this turned into a positive thing.
Yeah.
So they were moved by that, and at that time they were just looking at strengthening our policy. And after speaking with Warren County, they're like, no, the pouches are the way to go. And we did the cases instead of pouches just because they're cheaper.
Okay.
It's less expensive, and it's a one-time fee where the pouches were going to be a recurring annual thing. It was a lease.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
they chose this instead, a little more cost-effective option, but the same result. So we're excited about the initiative. I know there's a lot of students who are not yet, and a lot of parents who aren't. And I'll ask is just support it. Let's give it a couple of weeks here. This is not going to go away in a couple of weeks, but just support this for a few weeks and see kind of where we are. And I hope that we see the same results. I'm confident we'll see the same thing other school systems are seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brittany Denaro at Cookeville Eye Specialists. I'm one of the surgeons here that specializes in LASIK, SMILE, brand new groundbreaking vision correcting procedure, as well as cataract surgery. We're bringing all of this technology right here to your local town in Cookeville. So if you're interested in getting rid of your glasses or contacts and seeing vision and your world a little bit better, please give us a call. Our website is cookevilleeye.com.
All right, so back to the cell phones. Can they have the watches that have the text?
No, the watches are not allowed
Banned.
either.
Okay,
right?
good to know.
The watches can't go in the case. So if they're using the watch for a watch, it's hard to stop just a student having a watch. But if a student's over here and they're texting, the teacher's going to take it up.
Okay.
Turn it off, put it away. You just can't.
Okay.
That's the whole purpose, is to disconnect. It's disconnect to connect. That's kind of the way we're going with. If it's just a watch, fine. But if the student's constantly getting notifications, constantly looking at their watch, trying to communicate somehow through the watch, teachers are going to take the watch up and turn it into the office, and it'll fall under the same guidelines as the cell phone, that if a student forgets the case, don't bring it to school that morning, they're going to have to turn their phone into the office. If they're a junior or senior, you're going to have to leave it in the car. That's just the way it is. You just can't have it turned off, and we're not going to get around this by, well, I'm going to keep it turned off, but I'll keep it in my backpack. No, that's not the rule.
No.
The board's very serious about this. It's got to be in the case if you have it at school, and if you don't have your case, then it'll have to be turned into the office.
Yeah, they're going to have to learn responsibility.
That's it. And the student can turn it into the office without any consequences, but if a teacher catches it, then the discipline consequences come in with that, which
scares me.
the first time, it is, you don't want to go to the office. The first time, the student, if they get caught without their phone in the case, the school's going to take it up, turn it, the student's going to go get it from the office, and they're just going to tell them, hey, you can't do it again. But the next time it gets caught, then the parent has to come pick it up, not the student.
No.
So the parent will have to come in to get the phone.
And then the parent gets access to your phone, kids.
And the parents get access to the phone, but the parent will have to come in and pick the phone up. If there's a third time, and we hope that we never get to that, if there's a third time, the student has to turn it in for a full week or so. A fourth time, it's all year. You just don't get your phone anymore. You just go turn it into the office. So, the board didn't want it to be more punitive than that.
Yeah.
It's like really what we want is just to get the phones off, put them in the case. That's all they're asking, put them in the case.
And they want to keep kids in class rather than sending them to ISS,
That's right.
which some districts do the ISS aspect of it, but
Yeah, that's not what the board wanted to do
No,
here. They
no.
didn't want kids to be, punished like, after-school detention, in-school suspension, or out-of-school suspension. It's just this.
Yeah,
now,
consequence.
don't need to be isolated anymore. That's the whole point.
Right.
Right, okay, that
Communicating.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I need this as an adult. Can you lock my phone up?
You absolutely can.
Yeah.
You can get these. You can buy them on Amazon, I'm sure, but you can. And we talked about that. The board members even talked about that, even through a board meeting sometimes. They're like, I've got my phone up here, and if it starts buzzing in the middle of a meeting, that's distracting.
Yes.
And so, they've made a commitment to, they keep their phones put away. So, like, hey, we're going to do what we're asking the kids to do.
Focus on what we're here to do. I mean,
Right.
even when I'm working, I have to use my phone a lot for work, but it gets very distracting because then, let me open this or that,
right, and you're checking. That's what our kids do.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
It
So
is.
we're trying to get them to actually focus. Another benefit, which is a big one for us as a school system, because it's what we do, the school systems who have done this report increased academic scores.
Oh, good.
Increased academic achievement, because the students aren't distracted by the phone. They're actually paying attention to the teacher and what's going on in class.
And not worried about
And
who's
not worried
texting
about
them or
right,
whatever.
or Snapchat or what's happening. Right.
Okay. As far as the parents who are worried about students not having their cell phone in case something happens, I have heard, and you could probably back this up, that it's actually safer to not have your phone. Studies prove.
That's right, because you want the students paying attention to the teacher in the room, the adult in the room. We have elaborate school safety plans that we work on, and the teachers train on this every month. Different aspects of the plan. They do big trainings at the beginning of the year, and then every month they do refreshers. And those plans are developed with all of our emergency services, law enforcement, EMS, 911, EMA. All the folks come to the table. Fire department, they all come to the table. They meet every month, and they talk specifically about our school plans. We have school personnel, the SROs that are in those meetings, and they work on the plans, train on the plans every month.
Okay.
And that's something that just happens behind the scenes that we don't spend a lot of time talking about.
Yeah.
So then they go back to schools and they train the teachers. So if anything is going on, we want the students listening to the teacher, following the directions of the teacher, not trying to get their phone out and sending a panic message to mom or dad,
Right.
hey, something's happened. And really, Chelsea, what happens often, and we've had this in the past, maybe the school's put into a lockdown situation because law enforcement is searching for an individual off campus, but it's near campus. There's nothing else going on. We will notify parents, hey, yes, the school's under lockdown, but this is an outside, something, they're looking for an individual. Everybody in the school is safe. But before we can get that message out, because it takes a few minutes, before we can get that out, the students were texting mom and dad, hey, we're in a lockdown, and then the parents are trying to call the school and flooding the lines or call the office, and it has in a panic. And there's no reason for that panic because it's not related to school. So that was happening a lot too, and we will notify parents. We do that, and we will do that quickly. The only time, the thing that parents are like, well, in a safety thing, and really the big one, and I guess the elephant in the room is if you're in that really bad. We did have that school shooter type situation, and students, as a parent, I would want to know my kid was safe.
Right.
So I understand that. So once the teacher in the classroom, they go through their protocols to make sure everybody's safe. They're going to let them unlock and text mom or dad, hey, I'm safe, I'm here. That's the one big one that I think would be at the top of everybody's mind, but we'll have a way to get the cases unlocked if you're in that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the other emergency situations, we want them listening to the teacher
Right.
and following along, and we will communicate what's happening to parents. if there's an inclement weather day and we're going to dismiss school early, altering the school day somehow, we'll let the students unlock the phones because we know it's important to communicate with mom or dad. How am I getting home today? It's not the normal, I'm riding the bus or I'm getting on the car line or somebody else is going to pick me up.
Right.
We know those are not normal days. They don't happen very often. But 3 or 4 times a year it's possible, whether it be storms or snow, ice, whatever it may be, where we have to alter the school day. If that happens, we'll allow the students to unlock the phones and communicate as soon as we make a decision.
Okay. So, Malaysia, what were you saying about the cell phone being a state law?
Yes, so the new cell phone policy is actually a state law. It's not just our decision to change it or be so strict about it. I guess the state has also stepped back and they've realized that, just anxiety, kids' health, everything has gone downhill since we've allowed kids to have our phones in schools.
Okay. So it's not just coming from us, it's a statewide initiative.
Yes.
So good to know. I think that really answers all of your questions, parents. And if you have other questions, please don't flood his lines. He's got enough going on. He's taking care of it. Okay, next thing. The schedule for the school year. I loved that we got a survey.
Yes.
I was so happy. So I grew up in Texas. We did not get 2 weeks of fall break. And when my kids started kindergarten, I had no clue they were going to get out for 2 weeks.
Long time.
I was like, what in the world do I do with my child for 2 weeks? And everybody's like taking their kids to the beach. I'm like, who can do this? We have to
planned
work.
out. Yes.
What in the world?
Yes.
So I love the idea. I really hope you parents out there chose to only get 1 week at fall break and maybe extend Thanksgiving because I have to fly somewhere at Thanksgiving. So my kid always misses the whole week. And then I have to worry about getting a letter every day that says I'm truant.
I have bad news for you.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they announced it in the last board meeting. They kept the schedule the same.
For how long?
3 years.
Oh, good Lord.
So we do. The good news is in 3 years you'll get another survey. And
So
you'll
did
get
did people not vote to change it?
No, they voted not to change it.
They wanted
Oh,
to
so
keep it
these
the
people
same.
like the 2 weeks.
They do.
A lot of people
So-
don't like change.
So we started this, and actually it was a 9-2 was the schedule. And I was a young teacher, so it's been 25 years ago when our school system went to the 2 week fall break. We also had 2 week spring break at that time. So it was a 2 week fall break, 2 week Christmas break, 2 week spring break. Shorter summer, 8 week summer. The big thing with the school schedule, what people don't, you got to get 180 days in. Everybody wants to come back Labor Day and get out before Memorial Day and have their break. You can't do that. We have to get 180 days. That's what the state law requires is a minimum 180 days of school attendance. So we go 30 minutes extra a day. That's how you build the inclement weather. The snow days, those are built in by that extra 30 minutes. And there's 13 of those, which we either use them or we lose them. But really, it's just a little bit longer than today. It's 30 minutes. And we couldn't get all the academic stuff in if we weren't going that time. It would be hard to dial that back. But anyway, the school survey this year was close to 60% of the respondents wanted to keep the 2 week fall break.
What are you people thinking?
Keep the 3-day Thanksgiving and keep the 1 week spring break. That was the big thing. I think what drives that, you have a lot of split homes. So if you do a 2 week fall break, both mom and dad each get a week.
Okay,
So
well
if
that
you
makes
wanted to do
sense. I'm
things-
sorry for not considering that.
I really think that drives a lot of it is it's coming from, and that's what I hear. I did attendance and truancy for several years, and I would hear that from parents is both mom and dad would get a week of vacation or break in the fall.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. I heard on your podcast you did with Kostya Pavantsev, our good friend.
Yes.
Costa.
Hey, Costa.
That you guys dove into the truancy a lot, and that was another thing. My daughter missed several days, and then at the end we were going on vacation. She missed like 5 or 6 days. But I started getting these letters, and I was freaking out because I'm like, oh God, am I going to get... But they're automated, and you're not going to jail. But how many days can you legally miss, I guess?
So before things trigger that, and you get into whether the absence is excused or unexcused,
Right.
which is, if you're sick and you go to the doctor and you get a note, those absences are excused. And some kids just get sick. You have flu, you have strep, especially elementary, starting out early in school. Some kids just are more susceptible to whatever's in the air than others. So if you're actually sick and you're needing to go to the doctor, you get a note, you cover that. Those are excused absences. you're not going to get into trouble for that.
But
You're
does
not gonna
that
get
still
truancy.
trigger the automated?
You'll get the call that your kid wasn't in school today.
Okay, that's
from,
what it is.
from Parent Square. But it doesn't trigger anything truancy-wise.
Okay.
You also have 5 parent notes a semester. So,
You do?
You do. So if you've got a note, let's say that, running a little low-grade fever, 100, we didn't take our kids, but my youngest just graduated last year. So we've had kids in school for the last, 15, 16 years. And, if they had that low-grade 100, 100.1 fever, this is allergy, sinus, whatever, but they can't go to school today because they're running a fever, we would keep them home, give them medicine, let's see how they're doing tomorrow, let them rest, write a parent note, please excuse Malaysia from school today, so she, and you get 5 of those a semester.
And does the kid have to be sick, or like we're going
on a trip, family trip?
I had no idea.
You have to be careful with that, because if you use that family trip, if you take a 3-4 day family trip, and you please excuse Corby for these 3-4 days, we're going to wherever we're headed, Florida, for 3 days. Please excuse Corby. That's fine. But then when I've got that fever, you don't have that parent note left.
Unless you go to the doctor and get an excuse.
Unless you go to the doctor.
Okay,
Correct.
gotcha.
So you would have to go to the doctor and get an excuse for that. So we really caution against the trips. I mean, we do have a lot of breaks built in, and we encourage families to do that. Now, I know I've got family members who don't work in education, and I hear from them. My vacation, this is the only time I can get it. We really want to go. And it's not in the summer. And so we really want to take the kids. We really want to go do this trip. Or you've got that once in a lifetime opportunity. We understand that. And if you've gone to school the other days and you've not abused those parent notes, or you've gone to the doctor if you've really been sick, then you've got parent notes, and you can use those. You can take that trip. You still have to make up whatever schoolwork you miss.
Right.
That you didn't get a pass on that kind of stuff, and that's hard. And as students get older, especially into middle and high school, and they start getting into some of the more advanced classes, it is really difficult. The kids aren't going to want to miss either. Because if you miss a day in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, or that AP English, you really get behind, and it's really tough.
No catching up when it comes to math, geometry or something.
Oh.
I don't know how I would come back from
You
that.
don't.
But,
It's really tough to catch up if you miss a day. So school attendance does matter. It is really important, and it is a big deal. But no, we don't want your kid at school if they're running a fever, if they're throwing up, if they're sick. So you've got the parent notes, you can do that. And if you're beyond parent notes, go to the doctor. And really, if you're using more than 5, 6 parent notes because of that, you probably need to be talking to your health care provider anyway. And hey, there's something more going on. If your child is sick that often, there's a little more going on. Let's do some digging here and see what's going on.
So how many days can you miss unexcused then?
Unexcused is 5.
5, okay.
If you get to 5 unexcused, now you're triggering that truancy stuff.
Okay.
And that's, they'll start, by calling and saying, hey, you've got parent notes available, just turn them in. Or you
see,
don't.
I never got that call. Wish somebody would have told me. Because
you
my
may not
daughter
have had 5
that
unexcused.
pneumonia. Remember last year, the pneumonia?
Yeah.
She was out for 10 school days.
Right.
Yeah.
But did you go to the doctor? If you go to the doctor and you turn a note in, they'll take care of that. So
They did, but I didn't know that I got the parent notes.
Yeah, but the doctor note's better for that. But then if you need that's where they're going to start with the truancy stuff. If you've got parent notes available, let's get those turned in. Take the parent notes. If not, and your kid's just missing, and you start missing that 8, 9, 10 unexcused days, then you could be talking to Mr. Pierce and looking at court proceedings, and it's very expensive. And
oh wow, really?
There's lots. Yes, it's very expensive, and it's mom or dad, and unfortunately there are times when parents end up in jail over truancy. That can happen. It's pretty serious. You miss a lot of days for that, but it can happen. Or DCS being involved, taking a deeper look at what's going on at home. Those are things we all try to avoid. And your school will work with you, your school attendance people, your school administrators, and Mr. Pierce, our attendance supervisor at the board. They all will try to work with you, and we try to eliminate the excuse, why are you missing so much school? What's going on here?
If you have transportation needs or whatever it may be.
Right, we try to plug in and fill those resources before we ever get into the truancy proceedings. The big thing is just making sure notes get turned in, and we avoid that altogether, and the child's just at school.
So if you have a need, call Mr.
School.
Pierce.
Start with the school attendance secretary. Those ladies are great, or men. We've got Mr. Trevor at Capshaw that you guys deal with. Trevor's great. You start with the folks at the school level.
Okay.
Talk to them. If you talk to the people at the desk, let them know what's going on, get your notes turned in, you can avoid all the truancy headaches and concerns and worries just talking to your people at school.
Yes, because we don't want to spend some time in the slammer.
That's right.
As far as snow days go, Randy Porter told me that you have somebody that drives the roads in the morning. Okay, can you explain how the driving the roads on snow days works?
So yes, we have a whole team of people on snow days. There's 7 or 8 people. And it usually starts the night before. What's the weather look like, the weather forecast? Well, there's a chance we might get something in the morning, you might not. And the frustrating thing is often for our area, the system doesn't seem to be moving through until like 5 or 6. Well, we have buses that roll at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, no, yeah.
So we have to, for me, I try to make the decision by 5.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm pushing that 5:30 and then they're like, hey, what are we going to do, Corby? We got to know. But we've got people from our transportation department, from EMS, EMA, Brandon Smith, Tyler Smith. They go out with our bus drivers. They drive the remote areas, the higher elevations. Everybody's got an area they cover and report back. Here's what the conditions are. Here's the road temp. Here's the band. You got people watching the radar. Here's when this band or this little burst might come through.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing what's the forecast say it's going to be. And sometimes, weather people miss it. Sometimes and our local people. But we start texting usually 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Hey, what's it like out there? What's happening? What's the weather saying? And I try to make the decision by 5.
Okay.
And sometimes it's 5:30, but it's just because we're waiting to see, is this going to develop or is it not? But really I try by 5 because we know families are getting up, getting ready. Teachers are getting up, they're getting ready.
Right.
But it's a whole team. It's a big effort.
That's wild. I never knew that. And just so people in Putnam County know, even if it doesn't look like that bad in Putnam County, you guys have to cancel everything if you cancel Monterey.
That's
right.
So Monterey's part of Putnam County, so yes, we do.
Wait, sorry.
Yes,
it is.
It is.
People forget.
Right. People. Yeah. No. So, and that's part of the state policy, the attendance guidelines and policy, and there's a lot of accountability factors that gets into those things. But as long as we have inclement weather days, so those 13 stockpile days, inclement weather days. If we cancel schools in one area, we cancel all if it's for snow, if it's for ice, if it's for rain, storms, whatever it may be. So a lot of times it does just impact Monterey. But what a lot of people don't realize is if it's impacting Monterey, it's over on Pfeiffer Mountain and in those areas which feed Prescott and feed Cookeville High School, so it's not just Monterey.
Okay.
Or it might be down in the valleys in Baxter. It gets down into Brindley Hollow and Inzer Hollow and all those places on the west end. And if we get snow and ice down there, it don't go away.
Right.
All the shade and stuff, so then it's impacting Baxter. Something we started doing last year a lot more is, especially if we'd been out for a few days, if it only impacted a small area, 3, 4, 5 bus routes, we would go ahead and open and we could still excuse the absences for those students on those 3 or 4 bus routes. But if it impacts a significant area, Cookeville will be clear. And I get it because I live in the middle of Cookeville and I drive to the office and there's nothing on the roads.
Yep.
But I can leave the office and go 5 minutes and I can show you why we're out today.
Yeah.
And those areas. So as long as we're closing and we've got stockpile days, we have to close the whole county. So if there's a water main break, if there's something like that only affects Monterey High School or the schools in Monterey or only Baxter, I can close an individual school for that.
Okay.
But if it's inclement weather and we've got days, then it's all or nothing until we're out. Now, if we go beyond the 13 days, then I could choose individual schools.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this year, the state's approved we can do up to 4 or 5 virtual days. That's one of the new state laws we were talking earlier. The cell phone case thing, that came from a state law, how board members chose to enforce that is with the cases. But that came out of a new state law. We have 90-something new laws impacting education in Tennessee. That's not an unusual thing for us. We're still in the process of adopting policies and things that deal with that. But yeah, it's exciting. It's a lot.
Wow. So if you just choose to utilize a virtual day, would that be if you've used all your snow days?
It might not be. It could be.
Okay.
For me, I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm not just going to call it typically a virtual day just
that's
because.
difficult for the rule. Some of the, I remember
really
during
is.
COVID.
Yeah,
Which,
a lot of this is we expanded capabilities during COVID. More people have got access. Our county did a good job with the RF funds and making sure that there's Wi-Fi access across our county now, so everyone should have access to high-speed internet. The only time we've used a virtual day that was not inclement weather, and it was popular with some, unpopular with others, but a few years ago when Cookeville and Baxter were both in the state basketball tournament at the same time.
Oh, right.
We did that for the high schools and because we had so many teachers who were going to the games, we couldn't get enough subs. That was really the bottom line.
Oh, wow.
We had the students out, the teachers were out, we needed subs, so we did a virtual day for those students.
Okay.
And it was high school only at that time.
I like that.
So
You're supporting school spirit.
Yeah, it was popular with some. It was not popular with others. But anyway, we might could do a virtual day depending on there's always a one-off situation somewhere where I might could do a virtual day. But,
Okay.
But typically, I'm going to use those inclement weather days before we try to do virtual. That's just not an easy day. Because parents aren't there to make sure the kids are doing the work, logging in on time, submitting it, turning it in. It just becomes a lot.
Teachers still have to find a way to take the attendance, which is a
kind
whole
of
other
tough.
ordeal as
Teachers
well.
have to log if the student logged in or if they didn't log in or submitted the assignment.
And I'm sure every parent would have 1,000 questions.
yes.
Wait, how do I do this?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
The kids would know. They all have it, even your kindergartners. If they get a ClassLink account, you guys know that from coming in.
Oh, yeah.
The kids know how to log into their ClassLink. They could access their assignments.
It's so interesting because I feel like sometimes at home with a 6-year-old, they don't know how to do anything, but then they're going to school and they know how to do all the stuff. I'm like, wait, are you playing possum at home? What's happening?
They don't want to do it at home, but they can do it. They know how.
They know how.
They get pushed. For the families out there that need a little extra help with school supplies and resources, back to school clothes, can you give everybody where they can go to find them? I know we have so many resources.
We really do. So that's, again, don't stress over that kind of thing. If you need, whether it's school supplies, clothes, whatever it may be, start with your counseling center at the school.
Okay.
Every school has amazing counselors and a counseling department and program. Though the folks in the counseling department know who to get in touch with. Most of the supplies are at school. They have them. They have care closets. They get sizes. They get what supplies do you need, whether it be backpack, pencils. It doesn't matter. They've got that stuff in a supply closet. All you got to do is just non-discreet. Just the student or the parent and the counselor. Hey, we're having a hard time getting this. Can you help us out? They'll have it by the end of the day.
Okay, and if people want to donate to those things, they just also contact the school?
They can contact the school. I think the best way right now is the PEP Foundation.
Oh, yes.
Our school support organization, PEP, peptn.org. They collect supplies. We're going to do a Stuff the Bus campaign this Friday. And I think this Friday's at Cookeville Walmart. Next Friday's All Good Walmart. Thank you.
So. What time?
It's a long period, like 11 to 6 or something like that. It's a long day.
The second half of the day.
Second half of the day, there'll be a school bus parked outside Walmart. So if you want to buy additional hygiene products, school supplies, those are the primary things that they're looking for, or maybe elementary size clothes, underwear, jogging pants, shorts, T-shirts. They stock our care closets off the Stuff the Bus campaign.
Okay, wonderful.
So that's where if you want to donate that type stuff, I would just contact the PEP Foundation.
Okay.
Caitlin Steakley, she does a great job organizing and managing that, and the PEP Foundation is wonderful for all of our schools. If you just want to donate, give a little bit extra, they support so many programs and things. You can do a monetary donation by going to the PEP Foundation website, and they make sure the money gets to students directly.
Okay, wonderful. We'll contact them. Well, I think that's all of my burning questions. If you have any other questions, you can contact
Malaysia.
Okay.
Yes, I'll give you the phone number. It's 931-525-4701.
Right. Malaysia's the line to me. Most all questions can be answered at the school.
Yes.
Get to know the people at your child's school in the front office. The folks in the front office do an amazing job. If something happens at school and you're like, I'm so mad, I got to call somebody, call the school, talk to them, because they can usually help you work through whatever happened during the day.
Yes.
And if not, we've got folks at our office who are there to help and support. If you've talked to the secretary, you've talked to the principal, that's going to be the first thing we tell you if you call our office, because the principal's there. They're the ones dealing with it every day. It's not not us, because we're going to have to go dig and find information and all the things. So we're going to send you back to talk to the principal.
You're like the FBI.
They're
the local and state police.
That's it. Start with your local folks. And if you've talked to everybody, if you've talked to the principal and you've done all these things, We've got folks at our office, supervisors from the various grade levels or programs. We've got people who can help. And when you call my office, you're going to get Malaysia. She'll take
And I'll send you to a supervisor.
That's it. She'll take good notes.
And she's very sweet, but she'll be direct.
Right, but she'll get you to the appropriate person because we want to get you an answer and we want to help.
Yes,
we
for
are there to
sure.
support. We are there to help.
So don't be afraid, because I think as a mom, and maybe Malaysia, maybe not since you work for the schools.
I'm learning the
system.
process as well, going through with
Yeah,
Hudson,
so don't be afraid to go to your school, because I feel a little intimidated. Even,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
we don't
when
want
you're an
parents to do
adult,
that. Yeah.
You have the child, you never grow out of it. Like, you are always scared
Afraid
of
to
the
go to the
teachers.
office. Yes.
Yes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. What if my kid, like, they hold something against my kid?
So let me say,
don't be afraid.
that's a good thing to bring up. They're not going to hold something against your kid.
Mm-hmm.
If something's going on, the school needs to know and the teacher needs to know, and they want to help you and they want to work through that. Now, if your kid's involved in it too, you got to recognize that, they're going to be honest with you and say, yes, this is going on. I'm going to look at it. But now your child, Corby's over here. He was talking. He was doing this too. So it's okay. You just work with them and partner with them. It's not that anybody's in trouble. Nobody's holding that against anybody. We really want this to be an open relationship and partnership between parents and school, because your child's going to be more successful that way, and that's what we want at the end of the day.
Okay,
so
yeah,
reach
'cause
out, talk to them.
Okay, perfect. Because we all love
Talk
our
to them.
kids, but sometimes they can be the problem too.
Sometimes, but just talk. And it's okay.
Exactly.
But just talk to them. Talk to the school.
Okay.
It's good.
Good to know. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Is there anything
Absolutely.
else you guys want to mention before I let you go?
Oh, just relax. Have a great school year. Have fun. That's the big thing.
Yes.
Remind the kids, school should be fun. So have fun with it, and just enjoy this time with your children.
And download
In
the
PCSSTN, the Parent Square app.
Yes,
Parent Square app and
everything
turn
on
on
Parent Square.
notifications.
Turn on notifications on your Parent Square app, because that's where you're going to get all the texts and messages and everything
And
from school.
emails. You get
Emails.
about
Too
1,000
many-
messages, but you need to
them.
know that
Yeah,
information.
as a parent, you can. Yeah, we hear that from parents. Well, they don't communicate. Well, yeah, we did, but it was in that email you didn't read. I mean, you do have to look at them sometimes.
Yes,
But-
guilty. But
All of us are, because we get too many emails in a day.
yes, we do. But all the information is there. We have a great school system, and we are so honored that you guys came and talked to us about the new 25 to 2026 school year.
Yes,
Thanks for having
thank
us on.
you.
It's been great.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.